Hi, I am Anna, and today I am happy to share my story with you. I remember the exact moment I knew something had to change. I was 54 years old, standing in a department store dressing room, surrounded by clothes that didn't fit. I'd grabbed three different sizes, convinced one of them would work. None of them did. And I just stood there staring at myself in that mirror under those harsh fluorescent lights. And I started crying. Not the quiet kind of crying, the kind where your whole body shakes and you can't catch your breath. Because it wasn't just about the clothes, it was about everything. It was about how I couldn't walk up a flight of stairs without feeling like my heart was going to explode. It was about how I avoided mirrors, avoided photos, avoided family gatherings because I was so ashamed of what I'd become. It was about how I'd wake up every single morning feeling exhausted, like I'd run a marathon in my sleep, except I hadn't run anywhere in years. I was carrying 247 pounds on a 5'4" frame, and I was slowly disappearing inside that body. The worst part? I'd tried everything. And I mean everything. I'd done the low-fat diet in my 30s, lost 20 pounds, gained back 30. I'd done the cabbage soup thing, the grapefruit diet, the meal replacement shakes that tasted like chalk and sadness. I'd tried counting calories until I was obsessed with every single bite I put in my mouth. I'd tried cutting carbs so drastically that I once fainted in a grocery store parking lot. Every single time, the same pattern: lose some weight, feel hopeful, hit a wall, get frustrated, fall off, gain it all back, plus more. By 54, I'd been on that roller coaster for over 2 decades, and I was exhausted. Not just physically, emotionally, mentally. I was so tired of hating my body, so tired of feeling like a failure, so tired of starting over every Monday with fresh motivation that would crumble by Wednesday. I genuinely believed I was broken, that my body just wasn't capable of being thin, that some people were meant to be healthy, and I simply wasn't one of them. My doctor wasn't helping. Every appointment was the same lecture: eat less, move more, as if I hadn't thought of that. As if I wasn't already swimming in guilt every time I ate anything that wasn't a plain salad. She'd hand me another pamphlet about portion control and send me on my way, and I'd sit in my car afterward feeling more hopeless than before. At my heaviest, I was on medication for high blood pressure, pre-diabetic. My knees ached constantly. I'd stopped going for walks with my husband because I couldn't keep up. I'd stopped playing with my grandkids because I'd get winded after 5 minutes. I was 54 years old and I felt like I was 80. That day in the dressing room, something broke inside me. But something else clicked into place too. I realized I couldn't keep doing the same things and expecting different results. I needed a different approach, something that actually worked with my body instead of against it. So I started researching, not the mainstream diet stuff I'd been fed for years. I went deeper. I started reading about metabolism, about hormones, about why women over 50 struggle so much more with weight than we did in our 20s and 30s. I learned about insulin resistance, about cortisol, about how chronic dieting can actually damage your metabolism over time. And then I found something that made me stop scrolling. It was a method I'd never heard of before. A different approach to weight loss that didn't involve starving myself or spending hours at the gym. It focused on working with my body's natural processes, especially as a woman in my 50s. It addressed the hormonal changes, the metabolic slowdown, all the things that made losing weight feel impossible at my age. I was skeptical. Of course I was. After 20 plus years of failed diets, I didn't trust anything anymore. But something about this felt different. The science made sense. The approach was sustainable. And the women sharing their experiences were women like me, not 25-year-old fitness influencers. Real women in their 40s, 50s, 60s who'd struggled for years and finally found something that worked. I decided to give it one more shot, one last try before I gave up on ever feeling good in my body again. The first week was hard, not because I was hungry or deprived. Actually, I was eating more than I had on most diets. But my body was adjusting. I was tired, a little irritable. I almost quit on day 4, but I didn't. By week 2, something shifted. I woke up one morning and realized I actually felt good. Not exhausted, not achy, good. I had energy I hadn't felt in years. My clothes weren't fitting differently yet, but something inside me was changing. By the end of the first month, I'd lost 14 pounds. I cried again. But this time, they were happy tears. Because it wasn't just the number on the scale, it was how I felt. I was sleeping better than I had in a decade. My brain fog was lifting. I wasn't craving sugar constantly. I wasn't white-knuckling my way through each day, fighting the urge to binge. For the first time in my adult life, I felt like I was working with my body instead of battling it. Month 2, another 12 pounds gone. Month 3, 11 more. By 6 months, I'd lost 67 pounds. And I wasn't miserable. I wasn't starving. I wasn't spending 3 hours a day at the gym. I was eating real food. I was living my life. I was just doing it differently. My husband noticed first. He said I seemed lighter, and he didn't mean my weight. He meant my spirit. I was laughing more, complaining less. I actually wanted to go places and do things again. I wasn't hiding anymore. My doctor was shocked at my next checkup. My blood pressure was normal for the first time in 8 years. My blood sugar levels had stabilized. She asked me what I was doing, and when I told her, she actually wrote it down. By month 10, I'd lost 89 pounds. I remember going back to that same department store, that same dressing room. I grabbed a size I hadn't worn since my 30s. It fit. It more than fit. It looked good. I stood there staring at myself, and I didn't recognize the woman looking back. Not because she was thin, because she was happy. Because she was standing tall instead of hunching over trying to hide. Because there was light in her eyes again. Today, I'm 56 years old and 147 pounds. I've lost exactly 100 pounds. And more importantly, I've kept it off for over a year now. I'm not telling this story to brag. I'm telling it because I know there are women out there who feel exactly like I felt in that dressing room. Women who've tried everything and failed. Women who believe their bodies are broken. Women who've given up hope. I was you. I understand that hopelessness. I lived in it for over 20 years, but I'm living proof that it's not too late, that your body isn't broken, that there is an approach out there that can work for you, even if everything else has failed. My only regret is that I didn't find this sooner. All those years I spent suffering, feeling ashamed, missing out on life because I was too tired and too heavy to participate. I can't get those years back, but I can make sure the next 20, 30, maybe even 40 years are different. I wake up every morning now feeling grateful. Grateful for my health. Grateful for my energy. Grateful that I get to play with my grandkids without getting winded. Grateful that I can take long walks with my husband again. Grateful that I can look in the mirror and actually like what I see. This journey gave me my life back. If anything I've said resonates with you, if you're tired of the endless cycle of dieting and failing, if you want to know exactly what worked for me, I've put all the details in the description below this video. It changed everything for me. Maybe it can do the same for you.